Good morning, everybody, or afternoon, or good evening, whenever you're watching. So this is our week 8 video, so 2 months full-time RV. Kind of our weekly update. Usually talk about more what we did that week, those kind of things. This week I'm going to mention some stuff we did and then kind of talk about more expectations versus reality. What it's really been like for those 2 months. So anyways, this week we did a few things. We went on like a hike, you know, around the campground, that kind of stuff. We checked out the marina at the campground that we're at. It's on basically like a decent sized lake, actually. I'll actually call this one a lake. Most of them I call more ponds or reservoirs, but so this one's actually more of a lake. We checked out the Aztec ruins this weekend, which was really neat. Really cool place to check out. And then we also went to Mesa Verde, which was really cool. To get to Mesa Verde, it's a couple hours away, so we actually stayed the night in Durango at a hotel. The good thing about that is, though, is we had a hot tub and a pool. I've been craving a hot tub for a while, so that was actually nice to stay in Durango at a hotel for the night and just kind of enjoy the hot tub, because we've been staying at state parks for a little over a month now, so there's really not any amenities at state parks. We have had full hookups and that kind of stuff, which has been nice, but other than that, there's really no pools or anything like that. Obviously, it's a state park. So kind of getting on to expectations versus reality. Those 2 months, have they been a long 2 months? They actually, I mean, it hasn't been too far off what we expected. One big thing is temperatures. Temperatures have been off. We were unseasonably hot when we first started off. We had temperatures almost 100 degrees. And now, as you can see behind me with the snow-covered tree and the hat and coat on and everything, we've had a little unseasonable temperatures going the opposite way as well. We hit 5 degrees a couple weeks ago at a nighttime low. I mean, it was 55 during the day. It wasn't like it was, you know, week-long temperatures. These are nightly temperatures, which we knew it would get colder, you know, during the nighttime and stuff in this area out towards New Mexico, Arizona, and all that. And have bigger temperature changes, but we didn't expect it to be as cold, and when we first started off, as hot. So that's definitely been kind of a big difference in what we really thought it would be. Another thing is I thought, hey, a heated hose would be good for the wintertime. Well, for those nighttime temperatures. It's not. You still have the spigot to take care of. You know, so it's the heated hose, yeah, like around 30, you're okay. But for the nighttime low is not a constant low, but you still have to worry about the spigot. So you still need like some type of heat tape insulation on the spigot itself. So that's something to take in consideration, because we didn't. So our heated hose is worthless. We've got to fill up our tank when it gets down to those low temperatures and all that kind of stuff. You know, and disconnect and drain the hoses and stuff, because the spigot will freeze otherwise. And we did crack a spigot at a park in New Mexico. So you do want to kind of take that into consideration. Those nighttime temperatures, when they're below freezing, that heated hose is really worthless unless you're really taking care of the spigot itself too. So you got to take into consideration that. So temperatures have definitely been hitting us reality-wise. Same with that heated hose. Windows are drafty too. We thought they would be cold. I didn't really realize how much cold would come off the window itself, I guess, during the nighttime. We have found a good solution for this. We put up kind of a curtain over top of our curtains, like a blackout curtain, and that seems to help out immensely. Like, it takes away that draft coming away from that window. So that's definitely a cold camping tip. especially if it's just nighttime lows, throw a curtain up. Like ours, we can basically kind of tuck it in between the roof and that little valance. It kind of sticks into there. So that's worked out really well. Another thing, kind of expectation versus reality, is gas. We actually expected to spend a lot on gas. Obviously, we're traveling, you know, and how we're traveling, we're staying in one spot a little longer and taking some day trips, you know, an hour and a half away or so here and there. So we're gonna spend a lot on gas. We've spent just under 900 bucks on gas in 2 months. Just to kind of give you a good kind of feel of how much gas it really takes. When I figured it out, total, not just towing, but total driving, I'm getting about 16.3 miles to gallon with my F-150. Again, that's pulling and also regularly driving. I mean, pulling, I'm doing, let's say 8 to 10 hours a month towing. The rest of the time, I'm just driving pretty much. So we're not really towing a ton, because again, we're staying in places for 2 weeks to a month. So that definitely helps with gas costs. But then at the same time, it hurts us with gas costs because then we're traveling around for day trips. So that's about what we thought we'd probably be spending, you know, at least a few $100s a month on gas. When I did the math, just to get to work and back, if I was still working, driving my truck, I'd be spending a couple $100s a month on gas just to get to work. So does it cost you more on gas to travel or to go to work? I mean, it really all depends how far away you work. I was 21 miles from my house to work. So gas would definitely add up over time with that. You know, and plus, again, a couple $100 a month was just going to work, not going to Walmart for groceries and all that kind of stuff, and, you know, taking a trip here and there just around town. So gas has been pretty close. One thing that's been a little higher that we thought than, you know, what we would average spend or whatever is groceries. Groceries have been a lot more expensive, partly because we're in more remote areas. So you go to the small stores and you spend $4 on a box of crackers instead of $2. So, you know, or you drive an hour to Walmart and spend $2 on crackers instead of $4. So it's one of those things that it's been a little pricier, the groceries. So that's something to consider. You know, your local grocery store, you know about how much you spend, you know where stuff is. That's definitely an easy thing to do too. I mean, every Walmart is different. Even if you go just to Walmart's for grocery shopping, every Walmart is different. So as soon as you walk in, you're like, okay, where's this, where's that, where's this? You know, the Walmart by our house, I kind of had a plan. I always went to the left and went to this section, then this section, then this section, and I just went around the store once. Whereas I'm finding out now, it's taking a lot longer to grocery shop, let alone, you know, money, because you're going all over the place in the store trying to find stuff. And oh, I forgot that. Where's this section? You know, where's the automotive section? Where's, you know, the, you know, prescription drugs and, well, non-prescription drugs like Benadryl and that kind of stuff. So you spend a lot more time in the grocery store, plus you can spend more money because, again, mom and pop stores are usually pricier on some stuff. One thing I have found is cheaper at smaller stores is the meat, and it's a hell of a lot better. So a lot of times for perishable items, we're going to that small mom and pop store, and then we'll take a trip into Walmart once a week. Again, Walmarts are usually an hour away from the places we've stayed at. So we'll go once a week to a Walmart and get, you know, paper towels, that kind of stuff. That's a lot cheaper at Walmart. You know, not to mention like Benadryl and all that kind of a deal too, or whatever, you know, over-the-counter drugs that you need to take or have or whatever, you know, ibuprofen, all that kind of stuff. We'll do that. So groceries have been more. So gas is about on par what we thought. Groceries have been quite a bit more. One thing, expectation versus reality, time changes. When we first kind of got about a 2-hour time change, we were like, oh, whatever, it doesn't really affect us. It took a couple weeks. Now I'm still waking up at 4 o'clock in the morning, which would be 6 o'clock in the morning in New York. So time changes have definitely kind of caught on. I guess you can call it RV lag instead of jet lag. We didn't think it would really affect us, and it didn't at first, but it's definitely caught up to us and affected us now. Another thing is cooking. I thought it was going to be difficult to cook, and it actually is difficult to cook. So reality equaled reality. It's not really easier or harder or anything than I thought it would be, but cooking can be difficult. You have no counter space. That little 3-burner stove, you can only fit 1 pot on, so I don't know why the hell there's 3 burners. I mean, as soon as I put my pan on there to cook something, I mean, it takes up almost the whole thing. Unless you had little tiny pots that are about this big, it just, 3 burners are worthless. So it's definitely challenging to cook, but it's definitely doable at the same time too. I'm used to having a big slab of counter space to work on and everything else, which a good tip for that is if you get a little fold up table, you know, you can fold it up or fold it out while you're cooking and then fold it up, put it out of the way while you're not using it, which we do a lot, and that seems to help out a ton. Another kind of expectation versus reality is laundry. I thought our little laundry machine that we have, which has been awesome, I didn't think we'd be able to kind of do all of our laundry in it. I thought I'd still have to go to a laundromat once in a while to catch up or something like that. It's been fine. Laundry's been super easy, especially with that little machine. I do a load about every day or two, usually about every other day, and just hang it up. It dries, fold it, put it away. As long as I don't have to do more than 2 loads within, like, say a 24-hour period, no issues with laundry. So laundry has actually been easier than I thought it would be. Internet. We knew internet would be tough. Teresa works like a 9-to-5 job. She needs internet. She needs decent internet at least. We have 2 different cellular plans, one through like basically an AT&T, one through Verizon. Surprisingly, the Verizon has sucked for the most part. AT&T out in Arkansas, Kentucky, New Mexico has been a ton better than Verizon. And actually the next place we're going to in Utah is supposedly Verizon is worthless too. So Verizon is definitely more of an East Coast. AT&T has been more West Coast that we found out. So having 2 has helped us, because once in a while Verizon is better, so we use Verizon. If we only had 1, we would have to move around a lot more than what we'd have done, because you'd hit a park where we didn't have basically internet because we only had 1 versus the other. So it's definitely a huge help having 2, but it still has been a little bit of a challenge. Even now with everything, you know, cell coverage as good as it is, you still have a lot of spots, you know, not even just really remote areas, you still have a lot of spots where you don't have coverage or you don't have decent coverage. You know, most areas you could probably get it to where you could scroll through the internet really quick or send text messages, that kind of deal, but you can't necessarily use an IP phone, for example. So that definitely plays into part where we're staying and everything else. We've read reviews. So far it's all been good except for Kentucky. Kentucky was a little rough. They have like their own cell phone service there, and so unless you're right along a highway, you really don't have that good of coverage with just about anything, apparently, is what we've been finding out or hearing once we were there. So internet's been a little spotty. We thought it would be rough, and it's been about rough. So speaking of Teresa working, you have Blythe, and Blythe with the noise and everything else, and you know, I mean, we've had cold days like this. We're not outside at the playground. We've had only a couple rainy days, and now it's been cold. But up until now, we've been able to go outside a lot and everything else. You know, but even staying inside, she's actually been good with noise. There's only been a few times here and there where she like yells or screams while she's playing or something, and I usually correct her, and she's fine after that for a while. So that's actually been a lot better than what we thought. So we do have a separate, you know, basically Teresa works in the bedroom, so we have a big separation in between the actual living area and where she's working. So that's helped out, but noise level with Blythe and everything has actually been good. And Teresa working has been, you know, okay. Obviously we wish we could just go and, you know, like all the other YouTubers, just kind of go out and do hikes all day long and everything else, which would be great. But with Teresa working, to be able for us to afford to do this, you know, she has like a 9-to-5 job that has benefits and everything too. So it's been a little difficult, you know, kind of like, oh, let's go do something today. And, well, gotta work. So, I mean, you know, obviously we expected that. We knew that was going to happen. It's you're working. We're not really doing this to really see all the touristy stuff per se, but to just kind of see the country a little bit. We've never seen out west. We've never seen the Midwest. We've never seen any of that. So it's been cool to see it, even though we can't go and do the touristy stuff 7 days a week. We can only do it 2 days a week. So one thing that's kind of definitely been difficult is the remoteness. We did the New Mexico State Park Pass to save a little bit of money. We're doing that for basically 3 months, a month on the top and 2 across the bottom. So we're finishing up the month across the top right now. One thing that has been difficult is the remoteness. I mean, it's been great at the same time, being able to kind of be out here, kind of more in the woods, along lakes and rivers and everything. It's cool, but you're an hour from a Walmart. And we kind of didn't really expect that. We knew that there would be times where we're not right next to a Walmart or everything, or even just a gas station. Or right now I've got to try and find a place to fill propane. The closest place that we really know of is near a Walmart, which is 59 minutes away. So remoteness is something that I didn't really expect as much as it is. You know, we expected it a little bit, but not nearly kind of, I guess, as bad as it is, even knowing it is a good thing as well. You know, again, camping and being in an RV, being outside in nature, you get that portion of it. But then that one day where you need to go to Walmart, it's an hour away. You know, if you need diapers or if you need whatever. You know, some of the little mom and pop stores don't have the brand that you like or even carry diapers per se. So definitely remoteness has been a little difficult. Like I said, it's been nice, but it's been difficult too. So one thing that kind of brings us to as well is expectation versus reality is when you're living in an RV, are you on vacation the whole time? You're not. We're repairing their RV here and there. We've got, you know, a lot of stuff to do at nighttime because it's getting cold. You know, we've got a routine for that. So there's definitely a separation between just living in it and going on vacation. You know, and again too, with Teresa working, doing that separation, you know, you only have a couple days to do the vacation-y stuff. Like going to Mesa Verde, for example, and those places. So living in an RV isn't necessarily a vacation. It is a lifestyle, it is different, but it's not a vacation per se. You know, you can go on vacation in an RV and travel a little bit and see stuff and everything, but full-time living in one and seeing some sights and seeing some areas, it's not always vacation mode. And you kind of need to separate that as well, because you're going to spend a lot of money quick if you go into vacation mode. You know, even just going on a day trip somewhere, you know, a lot of times you have lunch out or breakfast out or dinner out. You have a meal at least out. You know, and those get expensive. You know, and you try and pack one or something like that too. And so to save a couple bucks, but it definitely does, when you go into that vacation mode, you spend a lot more and everything too. So just something to watch out for. I've seen a lot of other YouTubers and people doing the full-time RV say that is like the first couple weeks was vacation mode, and then we had to cut it and, you know, kind of stop. And you definitely have to be aware of that, kind of the lifestyle versus vacation mode, going in between those two things. So you want to, if you're going into full-time RV, you want to watch that, because those costs will add up. You know, even just for the camper buying stickers. Stickers are like $3 a piece. You know, that's on the cheap end. Some are $5 or $6. So, you know, you don't always buy stickers every place you go. Although I'm pretty damn close to it. But some places haven't had stickers, so it's a whole different issue with that. But definitely keep that aware. If you're starting to go into full-time, kind of keep an eye on that, you know, slipping into vacation mode. You know, you can do it once in a while, but you want to stay more, it's a lifestyle. Change, you know, living in the RV, the small space, and all that kind of a deal. Alright guys, so those were some expectations versus realities, like kind of how we thought it would be versus how it is out of this 2 months. So do all the YouTube-y stuff, like, subscribe, and all that kind of a deal, and we will see you next time. Teresa's not here for the bye, so